Welcome back everyone. We are designing our login page slowly but surely. So for now, this is what we have designed, and we are going to complete our design and make it better step by step. For now, we are inside our form section, this email and password input that we have. And as you can see, for now, this is very small, and we are going to fix it. There's something about this form that we have here. Uh, I'm not sure if the default color is this or it's been changed. But it's been changed. I mean, for example, this is a real world login page, and when we, for example, choose something here, and as you can see, when the username and password are selected from what we have, you can see that the color is changed. Okay, when we are choosing something from saved username and passwords, the color of the input will change. So I'm not sure here the color is changed or the default color is this. So usually when these things happen, you just contact the UI UX designer and ask the person this question, whether it's the real color or the color is changed. But since we do not have access to that person, we just imagine that the color has been changed and the default color is something white or maybe anything. We are going to customize this a little because it's not clear what the actual design is. So the first thing that I do is that I want to find out what the height of this element is. As you can see, the height is 46 pixels, but there's something that I need to emphasize on, that usually some mistake that people make is that they think they need to use the width as well. Don't forget, we can use height 46 pixel, but never use this 478 pixel for width. Let the width be changed automatically with the device's width, because what we have here is just a sketch, but in a real world project, the width and the height as the width of the device is variable, the height as well. So usually in these cases we are more interested in the height of the element. We don't care what the width is. We let the display flex that we are using handle the width for us. So let's use this height 46 pixels for our input here. So height 46 pixels, and let's get back to our code. The height is it has a border radius of 4 pixels. So this is what we are going to use as well. The border radius is 4 pixels. And let's get back to our codes, and this is what we have accomplished. But the line height is very small, as I can imagine. So I'm gonna increase the line height a little bit. It's not mentioned here. Maybe it's mentioned in this section, but the line height is 21 pixels, but let's use the line height 25 pixels. But I don't believe this. Let's test how much 21 pixel is actually. So yes, the 21 pixel is not what I wanted. I'm gonna customize this line height in future, but for now I'm going to assign a padding to this. For example, a 10 pixel of padding. So go ahead, padding 10 pixels. Let's come back here, refresh the padding. But when we changed the padding, the height of the element the question is, did the height of the element just change? So in order to find out, we go inside our computed section, And in our computed section, we have a height. The height is 46 pixel. Yes, the height of the input is 46 pixel, but it has a padding and we need to fix it. And in order to fix it, we first need to understand what box sizing is. Box sizing is a CSS property which so many people are having a hard time understanding it. Even myself, at first when I was studying HTML CSS and I was learning HTML CSS, I had a hard time understanding it. But if I had seen this example here, something like this in this example, I would have understood it very quickly. And so many people, if they see this example, I'm sure everyone can understand box sizing very easily. So when we did set the height to 46 pixels, well, actually, what do we mean by height? We first need to understand what do we mean by height. Well, the default thing that we are setting for height is actually the element itself. As you can see, we have a box sizing here. The element is here. It has a padding around it, the border around it, a margin around it. When I set the height to 46 pixels, well, we mean only this area should be 46 pixel, the element itself. So of course, when we mention that the element itself should be 46 pixels, so of course when we add a padding to this, the element will be increased and the element will end up being bigger than what we wanted. So at first we wanted the element to be 46 pixels and we added a padding to that, and of course the element did increase. So there's something called box sizing, and that's what I'm going to use. Box sizing is actually mentioning what my box is. For example, if I use box sizing has so many different values. Let's go here to style, give it a box sizing here. Box sizing has so many values. I am going to give it border box. When I say that box sizing is border box, so it means when I say height, by height I mean from border. So when I say that the height should be 46 pixel, these area will be 46 pixels. So if I increase the padding, it automatically, if I set the padding to 10 or 12 or 8 or anything, my final input, the final thing that I want will always be 46 pixels, and this is my content. So that's what I set by box sizing. When I set the box sizing to border box, so I'm actually saying from the border inside this will be 46 pixel, and this is what I wanted. I have my 10 pixel padding, and now finally everything is 46 pixels. So let's take a look at the other values that this has. Border box, content box, these are the two values that it has. The other things, 1, 2, 3, 4, these four are four actually general values that can be used for any CSS property. For example, this width, this height. So forget about these four. I will tell you what are these four things. But for box sizing, we only have two values: border box, content box. Well, the default value is content box, okay, which we saw how did it react, the content size, and the border box, well, so content size and border box. So what I do is, in order to fix it, I set the border box. I'm actually saying the border box is it wasn't border box, sorry, what am I smoking? It was box sizing. The CSS property was box sizing, sorry, was box sizing. The value was a border box. So when I say the box sizing border box, I'm actually saying, hey browser, when I mean height 40 pixels. By 40 pixel height, I mean the whole element itself with its border and with its padding. Okay, that's what I mean by 46 pixel. So let's get back to our code, hit refresh. Okay, our element is now 46 pixel and everything is just fine. So I might want to increase the font size a little bit, because let's take a look at this text here that we have. I cannot find the font size in here. I don't know if you can. It's 40 pixels. So let's use this font size 14, sorry, not 40, 14 pixels. And this is what my 14 pixels looks like. And now let's learn about borders. As you can see, when we use input, the browser has a default border for it. You can see there's a black color border here inside my input. We can customize this border. We need to introduce 4 new CSS property. One of them is border color, which with border color we can specify the color of the border. For example, let's use the blue for our border color, and as you can see, the border color is changed, but it's a little weird because let's see something called border style in CSS. This is so one thing that we learned was border color. The other thing that we are going to learn is border style property, not the whole border itself. Sorry, get back. This is what I want. In border style, the style of this border is something called, maybe this is groove, I don't think, but I want to set something here, border style. And the border style that I want to use, you can see it has so many values. I think this is the groove. The groove looks like this, but I want to use solid. Okay, solid. And let's go here and hit refresh. This is solid, a solid border. This is what I want, a solid border. And the solid border looks like this, and this is the final product. And the other CSS property is border width. The width of the border, what should be, for example, the width can be 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 3 pixels. How much? For example, let's use 3 pixels for the width. Hit refresh, and as you can see, that 3 pixel is much thicker compared to the default border width that it was using. And also we can combine all of these 3 CSS properties to one CSS property. For example, we can say border, okay, the border itself empty, 3 pixels, solid, and whatever the color is. For example, this var that we are going to use. Okay, and let's comment all of these 3 lines. This is a shortcut for all of these 3 different values. The first one is the border width, the second one is border style, and the third one is border color, and we should have the exact same output as we had. And what about the border style? Because we simply know border width and border color, it's pretty much obvious, but border style, what do we exactly mean by border style? We have different values for border style, and we want to check them out for now. Border style, and before we check the different values for border style, let's change the value. Sorry, let's go hit inspect again, and where did we go? Let's change this blue to red, because this is something that is more visible for screen recorder apps, and we can check out them better. So for border style, we have, this is what dashed looks like. This is dotted, this is double, this is groove, this is hidden. This inherit is not a border style. As I told you, this is something that used for every CSS property. And initial, and forget about that. This is inset, this is none, this is outset, this is revert, reg, solid, and forget about unset. So these are all different values for the border style, and we are actually using solid here. And so this is it for this session, and let's hit refresh and done. And this is the border style from W3 Schools. You can see those things about it: inherited, animatable, and there's something that the W3 has, and this is a let's check out the demo here. It has a demo, and we can go inside W3 Schools and see all of the different values for border styles. This is exactly like what we had, and these are all different border styles there. You can check out W3 Schools for resources once again. So this is it, and let's get back to our PowerPoint and sum up what we learned. Well, the first thing that I want you to take seriously is that those 4 different values that we had in CSS, that we could use them for every CSS property. They are 4, and one of them is inherit, unset, initial, and revert. These 4, for now, you do not need to specifically know exactly which one does, and we will see in a proper example, in a good example in future. But for now, you can take a guess. For example, what does inherit do? Well, you can, as you can remember, before I told you that some CSS properties are inherited by default, like for example color, but some of them are not, for example like font size. Okay, so if we have a p tag, okay, and we set the font size to inherit, the font size is being inherited, what am I saying, for example font weight, and set the font weight to inherit, it will inherit from its parent container. For example, if the parent container has any specific font weight, it will inherit that. So we will force this p tag to inherit that CSS property. So, but all of the other one, you can guess what they can do, but why do we need that, and why it's best to use them? You will see in a good example throughout this course. And these are the new CSS properties that we learned about the border and everything that we have. And remember, when we use border alone, the first argument is for example 3 pixels border width, solid border style, and a color, border color. So these are the way that we write our border. And for our box sizing, this is a very good thing. If you know that, you need to know the difference between border box and content box, and the default value is on content box. So this is it. This is for this session, and I hope to see you in the next one.